I'm here at Pondwood, going to give it a go, possibly on a last catfish trip for me before the winter comes in. There's a mild spell, tomorrow torrential rain, so I figured it's got to be worth a shout. I haven't got much time, barely three and a half hours, but I've come quite late because I forgot my head torch because I want to fish into that first bit of dusk and stuff. And last time I fished here, I just had my camera light, and sometimes you just want enough to shine on the rod and reel. You don't need to light up the whole lake. There's plenty of lights over there coming at night anyway. So I'm all set up here ready. I've got the umbrella up, trying to keep the wind off the microphone. Not going to help with the planes. There are so many jets coming over, unbelievable. It seems like every 3 minutes, so it's going to be doing this in gaps, as it were. Baits I'm on to what I call catfish kebab, I'm going to call this one, and I'll show you what I'm using. It's basically squid and mussel alternately. I think I'm going to put the squid on the outside so it doesn't cast off. Let's get bait in the water because I'm really up for it. So there we go. You can buy these in like freezer places. Now problem is, obviously they're all cut, they're ready to eat, they're for human consumption, but I'm figuring I put one of these on first, then I put the mussels, which are relatively tough, put those up next, and then top off pretty much like that. So it makes one good sized bait, because don't forget catfish got a huge mouth. There's no juice in these. If I could get fresh mussels, it'd be much better. A fresh squid, much better. But this is from Iceland, just a supermarket place you buy your frozen food from. And here comes the first jet. Let's thread these up and get this kebab out there. So I'm figuring, like this squid on first. My only concern is I might have to put a little shot this side to stop them casting and sliding up the line, or during the cast. On goes one mussel. They're pretty tough because they're frozen ones, but obviously I've thawed them out. Fresh mussels, you know, with all that juice in, really good. And just top off. I've got a fourth on there. No, I'll get it on anyway, why not? Just a loose piece of squid like that, and then slide these, hopefully you're seeing this, back down like this. But I am, if you can see, there's my catfish kebab. I'm going to put a tiny shot just here, because when I cast, these are going to blast up the line. If they wedge there, catfish takes up here, moves off, and gives me a false bite. So there we go. I figure just throwing two baits out there, because the wind's going to be in my face. So I've just got a single shot on there, and there I've put, if you're going to see this, hopefully you will, even in the wind, I've just got a number 4 shot there to stop this one sliding up there. And that hopefully is fairly, yeah, I can feel the point of the hook there. When we get a take, I'm going to really let them sort of pull tight. Let's get this out there. It's not going to cast far. Far enough for fish is all we need. I always check the drag. And although I'm pretty well on top of the rods, on top of the rods, I'm still going to use the bite indicators in case I'm filming something else. Right, this one's a heavier line, it's about £20 line, but it's thicker diameter, so I've got 2 swan shot on there to give me a bit of extra casting weight. A technical bite indicator, that's right guys, just a washing up bottle top. And there we go, all set up. Well, one of the lads has been round chopping all the bank nice and neat and tidy. Last time I came, he was wading and chopping all out. There were waders. You think, I'm going to catch nothing. He packed up and went. About an hour and a half later, the fish start to move about a bit, so they're not spooked by that, so I'm not too concerned. Seeing that rubbish will be coming around, probably pick it up later on, and then once they pack up, it's about the right time when anything could happen. At the moment, no movements at all out there. I haven't got a great deal of food. Went out to buy the bait. They didn't have the right bait, my super duper catfish bait of 3 years, and they didn't have the right one. So I'm on the kebabs tonight. Wind's picking up. Whether this is the start of the rain coming in, I don't know. But listen, here there's always a chance of catfish. Could be £5, could be £20, but it's always a chance. And I find late afternoons as good as any, you know, but they're so touchy, catfish, aren't they, regarding air temperatures, pressure temperatures, water temperatures. Who knows? They're funny creatures for sure, but by golly do they fight when you get them on the hook. So when it's quiet like this, there's a fair chance I'm actually going to eat my sandwiches a long time before I should. The thing is, fishing as I am now, back end of autumn, it's not quite coming into early winter yet, in fairness. That change over time can be really good. It can be really good, but you've got to pick the right weather conditions. It might be a one-day wonder, and you've got to be there when they bite at the right time. So at the moment, I'll be obviously looking for a fish. It would be nice to come out of this in 3.5 hours, as stupid as it sounds, with 2 catfish. I'd be well happy with that. Where's that food? Better get the other camera ready just in case. Got the light. My camera equipment is left over from mics. They're all busted and sort of drop out things. I see no point in wasting money on expensive stuff. It's about content, I find. I'm amazed, quite frankly, there's not more people fishing. 2 people, just the other side here. Well, no fish yet, but on the other hand, no rain yet. So that's not a bad thing, is it? But what you will get this time of the autumn when the leaves come in, is you'll get just where the line enters the water, leaves drift along, and these are going right to left, and they just catch on the line, then there'll be more leaves, more leaves, more leaves, and eventually you'll start getting false bites you know, pulling up if the wind picks up. Sometimes they just spin off the end of the line and they go, but if they don't, you know, you might just have to lift the rod once, give it a shake, get the leaves off, and then reset it. It's actually a light aircraft place. I think it's Whitewater, would it be? Closest, and they were absolute pain the other day. Now with the flight path of the jets from Heathrow's changed, and it's definitely coming right over the top of us, and I'm wondering, because they're coming across here, is that stopping the small aircraft from going up there? So I've gone from the noise of the small aircraft to even bigger noise of the big jets. It's a job to find real peace and quiet wherever you are in UK today. Just getting the odd little fish top, which is always good, because these small fish are generally what the catfish are eating. I've got a pick up, guys, got a pick up just there. We're on. Let's get over here. Oh, he's come off. Son of a gun. Just pulled off. Yeah, there's the hook. People say, why don't you get really angry when you lose a fish? Well, it depends if it's good fish or not. And also, you can't do anything. It's gone. For the line breaks, the hook pulls, pop. You can't ever go back and tie it on or hook it back up again. But I don't think that was a big fish. I think it's probably a 7, something like that. So, more seafood and see what we can get out there. There's something of a tug on this one. I think it could have been a carp and he's dropped it. I think. I actually saw the line tweaking where it enters the water. I had some leaves on there that I'll show you. You can see the leaves just on the line here and there. I was just about to move it and I saw it starting to twitch. So that's 2 takes on the kebab. I called it the catfish kebab, but I haven't had a catfish yet. I'm hopeful. Could have been a carp on that one, I think. Because don't forget, the white of the squid actually does look like a piece of bread or something on the bottom, doesn't it? So maybe if you had straight squid, a little piece of squid, you would, well, I know you catch carp on it for sure. But might be more likely to get takes from other species on something like white squid than you would the darker mussel. That's my take. Yeah, the guys there, they've packed up and gone. I didn't see them catch a fish at all. Maybe they did, I didn't see it, but it's nothing since I've been here. I've been here an hour now, so I've had 2 takes. 1 fish I've lost, and 1 fish, nothing came of the bite. I don't know how I'm going to hold out with those. I've only got 2 sandwiches, 2 cheese and pickle sandwiches. All still ominously quiet. It is now 5:30. Approaching 6 o'clock sandwich time, and only going to eat 1/2 of the sandwich. I've eaten the chocolate biscuit because they used to say years ago, didn't they? Don't eat any chocolate before your dinner, it'll kill your appetite. And I was gagging to get a sandwich, and I thought, I'm going to eat the chocolate first. And do you know what? Grandma was right. It's killed my appetite, and I can hold off a lot longer than I thought because I had that tiny little chocky biscuit thing. So chocolate does, in fact, appear to ruin your appetite. But I will be having the sandwiches at 6 and another at 7. And then going home in a sulk if I don't hook a fish up. Hello, tug then. Is he still there? Oh, it might be the leaf on the line I told you about. Mind you, there's only 1 leaf there. It's getting too dark really for the polarising glasses. Is that a sign with the light level that I'm sort of not straining to see anything, but it's too dark for the glasses now. That's an indication that something might start moving. The light level's getting to that sort of twilight time. I think I'm going to reel in, recast, and that'll be it for half an hour, because I've had nothing else other than that little tweak then. It is dusk time, guys. Take it. Well, it is well on dusk now. Had one tiny tweak on the KEBAB BAIT, and that's it, nothing else. So really weird, really weird. Bats are out. Save that battery. Planes are out. The planes are always out up here. I've never known it so bad. We are absolutely zoned over the flight path. But it is what it is. Maybe it's the planes putting the fish off, who knows. The vibrations from the engines going through the ground into the water and putting the catfish off. I did see something a bit peculiar. Up in the corner, I could see this swirling. I'm almost sure it's a catfish in about 2 feet of water. And I walked up, ran the other rods in, went up, dropped baits where I thought he was, because there'd be bubbles, then mud, then I'd see the tail swirling, and I didn't get any takes at all, so who knows. I suppose it could have been a big old carp, I don't know, but it just had that long sort of catfish swirl. But I didn't know whether the catfish would dig on the bottom and the tail would come up. I don't know in that respect. So fingers crossed. I'm going to give it 1 hour into the dark, and that's it. But I haven't got my catfish, my main catfish bait, so I'm down for catfish bait number 2 at long last. Peeling the line out. Funny old bite, very strange bite. Let's turn this off. Let's hope it just stays on. One fish would be just right. That light's ever so light, wow, how bright is that? Don't feel a big fish, but I'll take anything. Well, it's only a small one, but you know what? You save the rain. Just wait for the planes to go over. That's better. Let's move that plane. He might hold still, he might not. It's a small one, so it's going to be frisky. There we go. Well, that was a long time coming, I have to say. It's only just dark, you know. But still, that's that catfish kebab working. Not my best bait, not my A game, not my A team. I'm putting the B team out tonight and I still got a fish. Pleased with that. Always pleased with one of what you're targeted. Let's get it back. Well, I've got to hang on a bit now, haven't I? It's going to be a slow one, but there might be a chance. I'll give it another hour. Looks like I'm fishing on Heathrow runway, but that's what's left of the bait. Look, chewed and mashed up. So I'm going to put another 3 mussels there. Just leave them on, a bit like sea fishing really this. The squid's okay on the top. To be honest, I'll probably be using these again. Not these particular ones obviously, but the mussels, and taking them out of that mixed seafood pack and using these sea fishing for stuff like wrasse. Because they would definitely take these. And they've already made the squid rings, you see. We're going to cook some of these, to be honest. We're going to have a cook up with them. I was going to keep them all for bait, but I'm not going to bother now. I've lost my little number 4 shot there. That just stops them sliding up and giving me a false bite. Like a bit bigger with a BB. That's it. Tastes quite good raw. Let's whack it out there. The wind's coming up a little bit now, and they gave a horror story of rain tomorrow. Really, where I've come. The last trip for me, probably before the winter. This one on the left's normally a good swim, but or an area, not say swim, an area, but it's not been tonight. So we'll give it a little while longer and see what comes. Guys, it's game on with the second fish. Just texting the wife saying I might be late tonight because they're not going nuts feeding. The last one was just nicked, so I'm not going to play it too mad. He was just nicked on the edge. Don't think it's a big fish again. Just take my time. That's a different fish, that's not mine going across the line. I've got it, it's still a smallish. Mussel and squid combo again. It is a bigger fish actually. Quite a bit bigger. There you go. Yeah, it's quite a bit bigger fish, this one. Let's get it back, so I definitely lost the third one. Well, that's a turnaround, guys. Weird, I don't know how things change, but I do actually think they're shutting down for the colder weather. So now, the second half of the cheese, pickle and ham sandwich, which is all I've got to get me through to home time. I'm going to have to hang on just in case. Could do with a cup of tea, I know that. Wish I bought a flask of tea instead of a bottle of water. Only thought I'd be an hour and a half, 2 hours fishing at the most. No, it's all changed. Yes, the rain's coming. Another plane coming in way over there on the flight path. Good job I got the brolly up because it's raining. I'd like to get one more, but I'm hanging on now 45 minutes overdue from when I was going to pack up, but there's every chance it could go off. So I'm going to give it 30 minutes or the weather, whichever's or the planes. Every 3 minutes. The last time I came wasn't like this, different flight path. If I fire the floodlight right up, you can see there. Moths, rains, planes. The old moths love this bright light. There's one there. But the benefit here is I'm not far from the car. Come on, one more. Very sort of slow, tweaky pull. I'm just trying to feel if there's anything, doesn't feel like there's anything there at all. Oh well, it's getting near time to go anyway. Nothing. Must have dropped it. Well, I think that's it, guys. Gonna have to give it a closing the doors job on this one. So I've got 2 fish. That's okay. That's all right. You know, nice couple of fish there. Been a tough one though. I thought I'd get more, but I think they're shutting down for the colder weather. Sort of packing up. Don't know how I'm going to film this. Raining, and it's a much bigger fish. Got a lot of pressure on it. Put the net down. I'll switch off, guys, till I get it in the net. I'm nearly out of battery. My camera's getting soaked here, so this isn't going to take very long, hopefully. It's not a million miles away. Let's fight it down here for you. Not good for the camera. I see him in the light. Yes. Get him on the back. Much bigger fish. My goodness me, he's just hooked in the corner. Hook's fallen out. Oh. A quick lift. I'd say this one double figures. Come on, hold still, hold still, hold still. That's the camera gone. He's knocking the camera over. Sorry about this, people, it's just a cluster. I'll try and get one lift out of it for you. Now I'm kneeling in all the goo. There we go. What do you think? Another good one, let's get it back. What a session. Lucky to get this one really, last minute. Back he goes. What a trip. Turned out good in the end. Let's get packed up because I'm soaking, as is the camera. Well, I finally dried out after what was a pretty fair fishing trip. Now it's on to the random production side of things. Yes, it's coming. I think you're going to get quite a kick out of this one.
You're not allowed African food, it doesn't agree with your constitution. Yeah, go away. Patty.
So this is a mobile farrier. As you can see, they got everything in the back of the van, right down to the original straight piece of metal there that they have to cut to start making the horseshoe, because each horseshoe really needs to be made to fit. And look, that's what you call a toolbox. I'm glad I've not got to carry that one. Can you imagine that? You need a cart barrow or something to take it. All the different weird and wonderful tools, and that's going to be made into a horseshoe later on. They've got their own furnace there for bending the horseshoe shape. There's a wide variety of horseshoes, all different types, and all do a different job. So hopefully you can listen to this one, learn a little bit. It's something just a bit different, the farrier.
They're exactly the same as the steel nails, but they're just copper coated, so they're not any softer than the steel.
Oh, I see.
It's just for the antimicrobial properties of the copper, which the hoof capsule itself has its own antimicrobial properties. So really, this is a fad that is there to appease our customers.
Were they about years ago? You know,
well, apparently
copper coated.
Apparently, about 30 years ago, someone bought them out.
Oh,
they
so it's
came
not an
in
old
and then
thing,
they faded again. And, certainly, through my career, they came. I guess about 10 years ago now they came about. But so they came about, but the manufacturer that bought them out was very clever. They didn't advertise them to farriers. They advertised them at the horse owner.
Yeah.
So the horse owners were then saying, "It's this miracle cure that you know." My horse has got a swollen eye. Can you use the copper nails in my horse's feet? You know, it was almost that bad, and they were extortionate when they first came out. You know, they were twice the price of a normal nail, which adds to the cost of shoeing a horse. So a lot of farriers pushed back and didn't use them, and then gradually over time they've come down in price. And when they first came out, I bought a whole carton of copper coated nails. And I shod most horses, one side with copper and one side with steel nails, to see if there was any difference.
To see the difference, yeah.
I never saw any difference.
Never saw any difference.
No, and
the people who put the copper on did, because they got more profit.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Well, they
thought it was wonderful.
Well, they engaged. I think it was the University of Glasgow or somewhere like that, or Edinburgh, it might have been, to do an independent study into whether it actually brings much to the table.
Yeah.
And they never published it.
Oh,
so I think it confirmed what I already
knew, from experience,
from my anecdotal investigation. That's why I don't. That's why I use them now, is because the cost came down to basically the same. Yeah.
And is this horses?
So this
sawn
is a
off leg as graphic as we want to get.
So this is the hoof capsule, the external hoof capsule. We call it the horny hoof capsule. So this is all the external structures that you'd see. I mean, this is dried out and distorted a little bit. This was off a cadaver that we had, and you can see the horse obviously had some damage there, but it just shows how the hoof capsule bonds to the bone within the foot. It just shows all the structures from the inside.
It's tremendous pressure.
Remarkable. But so their weight isn't suspended by the sole, it's held by these little leaves, the laminae.
Really?
And each of those leaves that you can see has more of those leaves on it again, microscopic. So these are the primary laminae, and then on them are secondary as well. And that surface area, that massive surface area, suspends the weight that descends the bone column.
Now, why don't you put? I've seen the nails around here. You've got to say 8 each side.
Yep.
Why none in the front?
Round the very front.
Yeah.
On the hinds, that is because of the shape. The Italians actually do. Their style of shoeing puts nails there. You can, wherever the white line is, you can put a nail. We don't go in the back half because the foot expands and contracts as the horse loads it. The hoof expands and contracts. So we don't go usually beyond the widest point backwards. the very front, I suppose it's a style thing, really. And often when we've got distortions like Monkey had a little bit, you end up rasping the toe back a little bit more.
I see, yes.
As well, so you lose a tiny bit of thickness at the wall. In an ideal world, and when you don't have distortions, you don't rasp it back. But yeah,
the object is for road work or not necessarily?
Well,
why shoe the horse?
It's for support, protection and traction.
Protect that
really.
toe, I'm calling it, effectively.
So if your horse is wearing away more foot than it can grow, then it's for protection. If your horse has conformational issues, has an injury that requires extra protection or support, then the shoe can be fitted in different ways. You know, like this one, for example, ever so wide.
Yes.
This shoe would be designed to stop the foot sinking into the ground as much because of its massive surface area. That horse's weight is spread over a larger area.
It's like aluminium, so it's light because it's bigger.
Well, yeah, I mean, if you made that from steel, that would just be incredibly heavy. And then the other one's traction. If you've got, say, a cross-country horse that's going around on soft ground like this,
skidding,
they slip. So we can put stud holes into the shoe, and you can screw extra studs in, for example. So, you know, and we tap them so the customer or the horse owner can put in studs.
A bit like golf shoes, you screw in summer ones or winter ones.
But the problem is a horse wears the same shoes for 6 weeks. So you obviously don't want that level of traction on a day-to-day basis. So when you're doing the cross-country course, you screw it in and then...
You have to take them off.
You take them off.
It's good business for them, isn't it? On, off.
Well, not the shoes, just the
the actual
stud
bits
that goes in and out in the hole. So, yeah, you know, shoeing does bring a lot to the table, but not all of it is necessary, and I think people don't always understand what they're doing and why they're doing it.
Certainly got a selection there, yeah.
Yeah, well, you know, just laid out some of the normal to the exotic, but shouldn't be, but they might have just helped to harbour it, Hello everyone. So we're going to do our second horseshoeing demonstration of the day. We've got our willing horse here. This is Monkey. Monkey has been chosen by us for his exemplary behaviour. So not many horses in a show setting are particularly relaxed. They like the places that they like and they know, and they like to be around horses that they know and they like. So Monkey is quite a rare phenomenon in that he is exceedingly well behaved and relaxed, particularly when there's grass on the ground for us to work. So he's a great candidate for a shoeing demonstration such as this. The Monkey is 12, and he's lovingly owned by Jess here. So if we could have him facing that way. So what we're going to do now is we're going to trim the foot. We're going to show you some of the things that we look for in trimming of the foot. And while I'm doing that, Namar over here is going to make the horseshoe for this foot. So to become a farrier in Britain, so Monkey here has had his shoe removed. He has had a few issues. We're not his usual farriers, but a good friend of mine is. And he's had a few issues, so he was shod with shoe and pads, and his feet just become a bit distorted. For those of you that can see and are used to looking at a horse's foot, you'll see that this section of his foot here has become stretched forward, and the sole has become quite flat. Usually it's slightly more of a concave shape. So what we're doing today is keeping that in mind, trying to restore as much of a normal hoof conformation as we can. So when I trim the foot, I'm looking to take the outside edge down a little bit more than the inside edge. I can also see that everything's distorted forward from the foot. We use some of the external landmarks of the foot as a rough guide of what's going on inside. So this rasp is probably placed pretty much on the centre of the foot internally. Now what we want to see is, if we can achieve it, is 50% at the front, 50% at the back. At the moment you can see that there's more at the front than there is at the back. So during the shoeing process, because we're going to be putting a shoe on, I'm looking to extend the back of the foot backwards a little bit, and I'm looking to bring the front forward, the front back a little bit, so that we can return the hoof capsule to a more balanced shape. The foot trim pretty much from underneath suggests if you're happy to spin it round. Now what we do is we give them a bit of a pedicure. We bring his feet forward, put them on a foot stand. We can put them on our knees, but life's too short now, knees aren't so good, so we use foot stand when we can. So what I'm looking to do here is, as I look at the foot from the side, we've got a bit of a ski wrap sort of shape going on. Now, because of that stretch and the lack of foot clearance underneath, I've got to be a little bit careful. He's more sucking me than nibbling, I think. But, so I'm looking to bring this back whilst leaving a little bit of strength in there as well. So it's a bit of a 2 steps forward and 1 step back as you shoe. So this would be a long-term shoeing plan. This is called full and concave section, and this section is 7/8 of an inch wide and 3/8 of an inch tall. So the fullering, the groove down the middle, I'll keep walking as I talk, but the groove down the middle, this is where our nail holes go, and this is where our nails will sit. And the concave section, if you look at it from the side, allows us to sort of replicate the concave and vaulted shape that a foot would have. Really. The first is protection. If you think back all those years ago when horses were transport, when they were agriculture, when they were businesses and livelihoods, horses used to struggle to travel a great distance that the humans asked them to go over, because their feet would be worn down more than they could cope with. So shoeing allows us to protect the feet, allows us to stop the wear of the hoof capsule. So what the guy's doing there, it might look easy, but if you, I'll show you with a other hammer, but if you look at the very edge of this hammer at the bottom, Ma is landing her hammer in such a way that she's drawing a small ripple of steel. So her hammer needs to land in exactly the same spot every time, apart from she just needs to work it ever so slightly towards her to create a nice flip. And that's how you get the triangular shape, is through accuracy. Done well, done well. They don't know what a good one looks like. So that's the shoe made. Now, what we're going to do now is we're going to personalise it for Monkey's foot. You can see how hot the shoe is. And what I'm doing, I'm just placing it in the right place. And then, because he's got the toe that pushes forward so much, we just need to ease that clip in a little bit to allow the shoe to sit in the right place. And it's getting there now, that's better. So what I want is us to be loading the wall on the outside and not the sole on the inside. So usually we plug these in to the main socket, but we're just running this off a battery today because we're in the middle of a field. It takes a little while to warm up. Once we're up and running, we're good. Right, so what I'm looking to do now is just jump for the edges, wherever they're going to stick out. One of the things that we don't want to do as barriers is to cause any harm to a horse or increase the risk that a horse might harm itself. So it's really important that we don't leave any crisp edges sticking out. It's really important that everything we do has the horse's welfare in mind. So what I'm looking to do is drive it and then have it come out around 1/3 to 1/2 of the way up the hoof. That way I'm not driving it too high up the foot and damaging the hoof, but I've got it in enough of the hoof that it will remain solid, hopefully, for the whole shoeing period. And you can see that as I drive the nail, it bends away from inside of the foot and it comes out the side. Then I ring it off. That's a safety thing, really. Stops the nail going in my leg or into Monkey's leg. And you can see that Monkey's not at all distressed by what I'm doing. A lot of people at this stage ask me, does it hurt? And it really doesn't. If I've got everything right, and I follow the checks and balances that I sort of make for myself as part of my routine, then nothing I do should hurt the horse. What we don't want them to be doing is slightly loose, and then when Monkey walks on them, push them up and loosen them off. So now we're moving on to the last stage of the job. If you don't mind spinning him round. So what we've got now is we've got the shoe nailed on, he's held on to the foot, but we've got the ends of the nails just sticking out of the hoof wall at the moment. And it's going to create a barb that helps stop that nail working loose. So I'll walk you through as she does it. So what she's doing is she's just cutting the length to the right length so they're all a nice uniform shape. And then she's just going under them to make sure there's no burrs. The next step, and you'll see her do it shortly, is to create a tiny little recess under that little bit of nail that's sticking out. And what that does is that allows her to bend the clench of the shoe into a recess, so then when we run the rasp over the wall, the nail isn't weakened. If there wasn't a recess there, quite often what you do is you end up rasping most of the strength out of the clench. And throughout the 4-year training that we do, and then the continuing professional development that we have to do to be registered, we also learn more and more about ailments, pathologies, common issues, all sorts of things that we can bring to increase our value to the horse and the horse owner based on what other farriers are charging. And when you've got, for example, nails and shoes that for the last 3 years now have been increasing by 30% every year, year on year, and farriers are putting their prices up by 3 or 4%. It's becoming a bit of a tricky job, and then the issues that some farriers face because they realise that the 6 horses they were shoeing in a day before is no longer sufficient, so they're having to squeeze in an extra 2 or 3 to make the day as profitable as it used to be. It's becoming a bit of an issue, and I think the profession is waking up to that. But yeah, we're paid per job, so there is economies of scale that fit in, and it's an interesting job, certainly. But
I imagine you probably have to travel a fair way.
Well, I mean, we're really lucky. We don't tend to travel probably much more than 25-30 minutes in any direction, apart from for the specialist work. And then when we're doing that, we charge by the minute. You know, so in some ways, once you get to that sort of place within your business where you can, you know, I've driven all the way to Germany and back. I mean, it was brilliant. I got paid to sit in the van for, you know, best part of the day, and I shot 2 horses once I arrived there and drove back again. So, but it does require a little bit of communication as well, because we turn up to see the horse every 5 or 6 weeks, and to the customer, sometimes they just see us as an expense. They don't realise that we're bringing to the table an early warning system, because if certain ailments or pathologies are starting to manifest themselves, we can highlight that. We as a profession need to get better at telling the customer that we're not just putting a set of shoes on, we're actually thinking through a lot of other things as well. So it's very tricky to try and get farriers that, you know, we all bent down like this. We don't look our customers in the eye very often. So to then say to them, this is why we have to charge this much as well, can be a tricky conversation to have, but a necessary one, I think, really.
Well, quite a lot of information in that film, wasn't there? Now, I'm off to look at an 18-pounder. An 18-pounder. Carp, a pike. Different type of 18-pounder, this one. Have a look. Well, I went to a small military World War I event and found the 18-pounder gun and ammo trailer as was pulled by horses in the First World War. This standard field gun was used extensively, with some 7,000 of them used on the Western Front. These guns could send a shell, wait for this, up to 5 miles. And of course had an explosive, either high explosive or smoke or even poisonous gas. Over 100 million shells were fired during the First World War, and that's just from the British side. And each battery of 6 guns had 12 limbered ones, armoured wagons to carry the shells. And of course that was a load of horses, and up to 200 horses to care for and feed, as they were the ones that had to haul everything up to the front line. So when you look at it, the weight of all this ammo, not to mention the field gun itself, it must have been huge. And as you can see, the wagon wheel, these wagon wheels, they're very narrow rimmed, or as I saw them they were, which is great on hard standing, but they must have been a logistical nightmare after the ground became waterlogged. I mean, I'm wondering, is that where the saying must have come from? We were up to our neck in muck and bullets. These field guns, although destructive, were in fact a masterpiece of engineering. And of course, reliability is the key in any military conflict. Basically, look guys, it's the same today as it was back then. We're just using drones and missiles now, but this is how it was back there in the First World War. Luckily, somebody came to my aid. An officer and a gentleman was on hand to help explain how some of this worked. Yeah, when he was all interesting stuff, I found, as you know, I got into the militaria quite a bit, so let's just hear what this gentleman has to explain. Is this channel for the recoil? What do you call it?
The barrel slides back in the cradle. On firing, this will actually recoil about 3.5 feet.
Oh, really?
So, yeah, so a long way back. That's why the gun has got a shield at the side to stop him getting hit by the breech when it comes back. And this is greased. This goes all the way back and through the cradle here, and then this inside here. There's
the rope. Is it cooling?
It's for cooling and a bit of protection too. So if you get a bang, it doesn't dent the spring case. If a bit of shrapnel hits it or something, it damages the rope, not the the spring case, which is quite thin.
They don't do. It's not like a water cooled like the Vickers or something.
No, it's not. But you would, on fast firing, you'd soak this with a bucket of water.
Oh, gets that hot?
Yeah, that's right. It will do. Get very hot.
And reload time. What do they use to get through? Oh, a minute or whatever they want.
Well, a minute is certainly probably the maximum rate of 3 a minute, 4 minute. If a good team. But you fire too fast, it heats up too quickly. And,
I see. Yeah.
And you run the risk of breaking springs. The recoils, there are 4 concentric springs running down the middle of this tube, which absorb the recoil, and then they push it back into battery when it slowly comes back up. And it's a pneumatic system, so it's filled with oil. This reservoir.
Oh, that's what this is for,
right,
then. Yeah,
it's full of oil. Well, it isn't now, but it would be.
Yeah.
And it lets them come back into battery slowly. So it's not a bang bang.
Yes.
It's a bang.
Yes.
Out. So that's the speed with which this comes back into battery. If it's not fully back into battery, you can't. The firing mechanism won't operate.
Yeah.
So that limits the speed with which you can actually fire.
And rifled, it feels, is it?
Yes,
in there?
it's rifled.
The barrel, rifle barrel.
It's rifled. Yeah, it's 3.3 inches caliber, and that's slightly larger than the 3 inches of the 13-pounder. So this is 18-pounder.
And I said on the information, is it 5 miles it fires?
Yeah, maximum.
Yeah, that's a maximum elevation.
You've got to go a little bit. If you dig the spade into the ground at the back, it's a limit on the amount you can lift that barrel, because of it's got a pole trail instead of a box trail. But that will just you'll be able to drop that so far, and you can drop it a bit more. You might get a few more yards out of it. But it's not designed to fire much more than that anyway.
And your black and white stick, some form of mark or something.
Aiming posts. Yeah, you would have a dial sight on it, or which you can sort of position the gun in relative to a fixed point, and these aiming marks provide the fixed point. You'll have one left of arc, one right of arc. You have one stuck out there about 20 yards. One stuck up there about 20 yards, and then through the dial sight you aim, you fix the position, and then everything is fired in relation to that.
And this is gun sight in here?
That's direct lines. That's
line of sight. Am I going to call that?
Yes,
line of sight. Yeah. I got it now. I see. It's all very interesting. Yeah. And then the seating round here. I see this is your gun aimer.
Yeah.
What's the other one for?
That's the number 2. He loads. So he works the breach.
But is the breach? Does it come open that way? I thought the hinge is the wrong way for him. You see, I thought it'd be in his way.
No, that goes. He's that side. He opens the breach. There's a round in there, empty case. Oh, it's not. No, it's taken out.
Yeah.
It's there on the ground.
Oh, I see. It's that one. Yeah.
So that would go.
So his job is just opening it. Another man's got to come from this side to load it.
Or from that side.
Oh, you can, yeah.
You can do it from that side. And this is the chap who fires it. So he sits here. He adjusts the position of the line of sight.
You see it moving,
so it goes up and down. So you go left, right, whatever. And that gives you a bit of traverse here, left and right of arc. So you've got about 4 degrees left or right on the.
That's good gearing in there, isn't it? The way it moves, with a minimal.
Probably needs a bit of oil.
Got to be maintained, though, yeah.
Yes, indeed. And then you've got a little bit of traverse on the sight here. So it's quite a mathematical exercise to lay one of these things. It's like the Vickers gun over there. It's not just point and aim. It's all done indirectly. And
that's brilliant, yeah.
No, it's got and that's the firing lever here.
That's bang.
That goes bang, yes. So it makes it go bang. So this chap actually fires it. This is the number 1 who sits here. He fires that.
So what you say is this lot's coming back
that all
here.
See that there's a telescopic tube that comes back against the spring, so it will come back probably as far as here.
Well, there's a lot of interesting information in this week's film, wasn't there? Bit of fishing, a couple of other productions in there as well, the old random section, and the Royal Horse Artillery is something quite close to my heart because my grandfather was indeed in the Royal Horse Artillery. If he hadn't made it out there alive, moi would not be here now, which means you guys wouldn't be watching this film. So, look out for next week's film. There's sure to be a real mix-up in there. We look forward to seeing you. And don't forget, pop over to Mike's channel, TA Outdoors, and see what he's got cooking over there. We'll see you next time.